Mirror, mirror on the wall, how much will the Raptors fall? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in onto the point with the king. You guys know what to do. Find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever. Now we're on TikTok. Find us there too. Please go down there, click subscribe, click like. Remember, we're giving away that beautiful hoodie for you guys once we get to 750. Thank you for the support. Thank you for showing some of your love, upping our subscribers, and showing mad love to, I'll say, pretty much to me now as a celebrity, my man, all the way from the East Coast to your home, the one and only Coach Roach. How you doing today, my brother?
Oh man, celebrity? I don't know if I want that. I just like basketball. That's all I want.
Hey, man, people out there love you. They ask me about you, and I'm like, ask about
Oh
me.
yeah, I love. No, I love you, man. Love the show, of course. I know you guys. You've been doing this for a little while now. And it's been good. Certainly, it's been nice just to be on your show now for a couple of years. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's been 6 years I've been doing this, but
Yep.
next month is the anniversary episode, but that's another story.
Hey, that's another story. Right.
Anyway, Coach, I poached you. I poached the coach. Yes, I did. Bars. Take that in. But I wanted to ask you something now that the Raptors have already gone through, which is the first quarter of the NBA season right now, standing at a record of 4-13. Okay. Zero road wins. But a lot of injuries. Right? But from where they stand right now, do you think, let's go through this in process. Do you think Masai and Bobby made right decisions at the end of last season and in the off season for the Raptors to be on this trajectory?
Well, they announced that they were rebuilding. This would be a rebuild year. But I've never heard Masai say rebuild as much as I did last year and the start of this year. So a rebuild team means you're going to have a lot of young players, and a lot of young players means lots of teaching and development. And part of that also is the 905 pipeline now. We actually have a pipeline. We got the kid Shamshi, who's only 18 years old. He's the age of some high school seniors. He probably should be playing D1 NCAA, but he made that jump to the NBA. And then you have Mobo and Shed and Jacoby Walter. Walter's like 19 years old, and Shed and Mobo, I think, around 22, 23. So this was the direction that they decided to take. And with rebuilds, you either sell winning or you sell hope. And they are selling hope. They are not selling winning.
My man, have I not been saying this for a couple years now? The Raptors need to get the 905 pipeline back in order to win a championship. You just nailed it. Thank you for saying that. But yeah, I agree with you. You know, like Masai and Bobby did take a step in the right direction by getting younger players. You know, this year alone, basically drafting or putting on 5 rookies, right? Right. And even though a lot of them have a good bit of pedigree, a good bit of experience in different areas, and they might be a little bit more mature than some of the regular rookies that are in the league currently. I think they made the right step by getting rid of the old regime and bringing in the Scotty regime with RJ, IQ, Brown, even bringing old guys in like Kelly and Yak, right? Davion. I think they've made the right moves in the right direction to help, you know, uh, uh, catapult that team into the next couple years to be something. Like, hence, look at Oklahoma City, right? A couple years ago. Now look at them, right? But the other thing I want to talk to you about, my man, was you and I as coaches. Speaking of being young, Darko, this is only his second year starting. So give him a chance, Raptors fans. Give him a chance, okay? It's only his second year. What do you think he's done for this team with what they provided him?
So I think two things can be true at once. I think Darko and how some of these guys have developed individually has been pretty good. I look at Ochai. He's made a big jump from last year to this year. I'll put part of the development on Grady. Now, let's be clear. A lot of this is on the player too. Some of it will be on coaches. Because the coaches you have to be with them, you have to show them what you want them to work on and workout plans. So some of that's on the coaches, but a lot of that's on the players too. So with some of the individual development, I'll give the staff and Darko credit. Even a guy like RJ Barrett, who's getting a different opportunity in Toronto than he had in New York. Some of the in-game management, though, from Darko and staff, it's been a little irritating to me to watch.
How
There's
so?
been some big time mistakes. There have been a couple of times where they never called timeouts when they had plenty of timeouts to use during the end of the game. I remember there was a game against Denver. There was a broken play. Mobo was he was trapped basically, and Darko had two timeouts to use with 14 seconds to go. They didn't use it. And if you called a timeout, that would have put 14 seconds back on the shot clock. You could have drawn up something. There was a play with the Clippers game. Hurdle caught the ball 30 feet from the basket, and you were down 3. Do you want a guy who's never shot a 3 in his NBA career, or maybe 1-3, catching the ball 30 feet from the basket when you're down 3? And they did it twice, and they fouled him. The Clippers did. So he made the first one, and you sent a guy to the line who shoots 60%. So there's just little things like that can be irritating to me. I would have got a ball. I would have done everything I could to get the ball to Grady Dick in that Clippers game, or RJ for that matter, but they didn't. They got hurdled. And much as the offense, quite frankly, at times. Now, some of that might be due to all the injuries that we've had. I've never seen a fourth or fifth option with the ball as much as Pirtle. I can't think. I've been watching basketball a little over 20 years ago, maybe 25 years. He has the ball a lot in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see more. I'd like to see more the ball in Scotty's hand as the hub. They like to call it. I think if you had it more in his hands moving forward, I think this year has to be a little bit about development. And I'm not taking anything away from Pirtle. He's just doing what he's asked to do, and he's doing a pretty good job.
Damn right he
There's
is.
just some things. Yep, no, I give him credit for that. But there's some things, though, there's just some coaching things, and I kind of relate back to myself, obviously on a much lower level. I'm like, I would have done that a little differently. I would not have got the ball to my center 30 feet from the basket twice. And then the Clippers are just like, we're just going to foul you. You're 60% free throw shooter. Just little things like that. I suspect over time this will get better, but I also suspect some of this might be. I'm being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist right now.
Ooh, put on your
I
tinfoil
don't know
hat.
how much they're going out to. I don't know if they're trying to win 50 games this year. And don't quote me on that. You could say that to Jakob Poeltl, because he said at the preseason conference, we ain't trying to win every game.
You know what? You said something funny there. They gave it to Yak out there. This is just an anecdote. I remember the first time I went to watch Michael Jordan come here and play at the Sky Dome, right? And the Raps needed a 3 to win. And they gave the ball to Oliver Miller.
Okay. This is good, right?
I
remember. Yes, I remember seeing him as a kid. He was a big guy. So you want to give it to him 25 feet from the basket, and you need a 3? Like, what?
As soon as he put the ball up, me and my buddies we just got up and we started walking up.
Yeah. So two things can be true at the same time, I think. I think individually, because Darko's a developmental coach, and you're starting to see some of the guys individually develop. I think some, anyway. But the in-game management has been questionable at best.
Okay, so
at times.
With in-game management, I get the management part. I completely hear what you're saying. Um, based on what he has available towards him, I do like the high screen,
Yep,
right? That he's setting. I love that with Yak because I think Yak fits perfectly in that,
yep.
right? Um, depending on who he has with them. Um, the, I think they're relying a little too much on the inside, and we did cover this last season. I think they're relying a little too much on the inside and too much on the outside. I've noticed as a coach when I'm watching these guys playing and their mid-range game is hitting, like when Grady's hitting those little touch fadeaways, Scotty's hitting the little couple jumpers here and there. You know what I mean? Once they're hitting from like the foul line, when they're hitting those mid-ranges, they're staying in the game, right? It's not that they have to be dominant, but they're staying in the game instead of going for the home run ball, right? Or going to the rim and expecting a call. Why am I rhyming so much today? I gotta stop being Dr. Zeus. But I think I think that's one thing that they do need to work on the court when it comes to plays being called. What do you think about that, Coach?
No, I certainly see your point on that. I think this offense is very much centered around the point guard in the center. Well, who's the point guard in the center right now? It's Davion Mitchell and Jakob Poeltl. That's not R.J. Barrett. That's not Scotty Barnes. That's not Grady Dick.
That's not quickly.
That's not Quick. Well, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
just say it because Quickly hasn't been playing.
exactly.
And I'm not saying for them not to do that. There's going to be times that they'll have to do that. And like you said earlier, Pirtle's a really good screen setter. We all know that. That's why I want to see more actions of Grady Dick coming off Pirtle screens or flare screens or double screens catching the ball and shooting. Because when Grady gets his game going, it kind of opens it up for everybody else. And especially if Scotty is the hub, let's just say it's Scotty getting the ball a lot in the high post. And then I trust him making decisions. I trust his vision. And I trust him taking that first bounce off the dribble to get to the hoop more so than I do Pirtle. It's not a knock against him. I think it's just how some of the players and where they're put in this offense. That's where I kind of question it. So I saw Siakam last year. Darko had him placed in the corner like he was Klay Thompson. I know Beyond, who's been on your show, has said that. And I'm just kind of noticed it too. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to have Pascal Siakam spotting up in the corner, but I haven't really quite seen that like with Scotty or anything this year, which has been good. I know Scotty was out for a bit, but again, I think I said this to you on your preseason show when we had Raptors Freak and beyond.
Yep.
This is going to be about process, but you're going to have to wait and see till all the pieces are in play, and you're still missing your starting point guard in quickly. We're starting to see more of what this might look like, and I think the biggest shock to me so far this year has been Grady Dick. The jump that he's made from year one to year two. He's basically a 20 point per game scorer, going from like a 6 to 7 point per game scorer. I'm trying to think in Raptor history who's made that big jump from year one to year two. I
I can't
can't
think of
really
any.
think. DeRozan was the closest, but again, he didn't have that 3 point shot. So I don't really know who else. Now, part of that is due to the injuries. He's just getting more touches.
Yep.
And part of that is his own development.
And other teams aren't scouting for him. They weren't specifically scouting for him, right?
Yep.
They just thought
Good for RJ.
yeah, they were looking at RJ. They were looking at the main pieces, RJ, Yak. They weren't looking at Grady, and I think Grady flourished, which makes me think like everything you just said and everything I'm going to say reminds me of my Minnesota Vikings in their last win against the Chicago Bears. We have the best wide receiver in the league, but he's getting double teamed all the time. So our number two,
Yep.
he stepped it up. He got over 100 yards receiving. The other players got their yards receiving. He didn't get nothing because the other team was just focused on him and stopping him, which is now I think, coach, you know this. Now you were an opposing coach going up against the Raptors. When you're doing your scouting report, you're listing Scotty, RJ, Yuck, Grady. You're listing it pretty much in that order until Quickly comes back. Then Grady falls off. So it opens up the door for a lot of other players to make moves and run around, right? And I think a lot of the encouragement coming from the coaching staff, you know this, because sometimes you got to take your guys aside, maybe go have lunch, go have a chit chat with them. Do you think Darko off of the court is having an impact on some of the players and their camaraderie and their chemistry currently?
I think so, and I'll say this, and I think I've said this before. Just my early observations of the season. It's been rough in terms of wins and losses, but most games, the Raptors have been exciting to watch. That means the players are still buying in to the coaching staff for now. Like they're playing hard. I watched them beat down 20 in one of the games, and they would bring it back to that 6 or 7. The quote unquote fake Raptors comebacks. We're getting a lot of those this year for a people want to call it a tanking year. It's been an interesting tank, if they want to call it that, because they're in a lot of games. They're just like, I know they're 4-13 as of this recording. They could be 6-11 or 7-10, something like that, which
Yeah.
would basically put them in 8th or 9th in the East.
Yep.
I think the next stretch of games until the 19th of December, I'm going to be at that game against Brooklyn. I think from that stretch until then, it's going to get very interesting for the rest, at least going into the new year, how this team does. Because you got the Pelicans, you got Detroit, you got Miami twice. The schedule's starting to get a little bit leaner now than it was than what we just had the first
Thank
15
you.
games.
Thank you. That's what I've been telling people. They had the toughest schedule. They pretty much most
Yes.
of the strong teams in the West are off of their calendar, right?
Yeah.
Now, with the Eastern Conference, I think it's going back to calling the Leastern Conference, right? Is struggling,
It's bad.
right? The Raps can definitely focus on that and move up. Instead of playing Western teams twice a year, they're playing these Eastern teams 4 times a year. They can actually make their way up the ladder. I still believe, completely healthy, they can get to 40 wins. I said it on our preseason one. I know you were close with Beyond, around in the 20s range, but
I said 30.
you said 30. I still believe they can hit 500, maybe 40 wins, right? But, Coach, do you think that they can actually still climb back up that ladder? Sorry, you were going on about that, but I want to hear more about it.
Can they? I think they could, but again, this stretch until about the New Year is going to be crucial. I think Bruce Brown's going to be back this week. It looks like he's going to be. You're probably going to have Kelly Olynyk back sometime in December. Quickly's probably going to be the last one to come back based on his baseball pitching injury that he has. I don't know if I've seen that in basketball before, but maybe it's happened. But no, I think with Bruce.
It happened to me. I tore my shoulder one time whipping a pass.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think this next stretch of games until the new year is going to be crucial to find out. But I think as of yesterday, the Raptors were like 2 games back of 7th place or 6th place in the East. That's how bad the East is. And I don't think we're going to out-tank Washington for the bottom. They've lost like 10 in a row. Philly's a mess right now with Embiid. I did not see that coming. I did. Yeah, it's a mess there. You never know with Brooklyn. Like they're playing okay. I actually had Brooklyn like 14th or 15th in the East. I thought they made it clear they're trying for Cooper Flag, but Ben Simmons, he's back to what he has been the last 4 or 5 years, which hasn't been good.
So non-existent.
So, yeah, I just don't know. I had this team anywhere between 10 and 13th, the Raptors this year, so they might be able to sneak in to that 10th seed, but I kind of saw them more closer to the 12th or 13th seed. And it's not a bad thing, for one, if you're rebuilding. I don't know if you want to be stuck in mediocrity. If you're saying you're rebuilding, I don't know if mediocrity finishing 8th or 9th is the way to go. You might just have to kind of like bite the bullet this year and not be very good. But at the same time, I don't like tanking. I hated what they did in Tampa that year because I was fine. You're wasting someone's prime years when you're doing that. But there is this other part where, gee, it's tough for us to get talent in here through free agency for one. We have to rely so much on the draft to bring in talent, and which we do need. There's no question that we need to add a piece or two moving forward. But I'm just happy about how these guys are playing hard. Because when there's not much expectations on you, you're just like as a player, well, what's the point?
Well,
But they're not saying that, so it's good to see.
well, let's get to the point. I completely agree
Ah,
that they should not tank. I don't think the Raptors need.
and I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
Here's my reasoning. Tell me if you agree with me on this one, Coach. Here's my reasoning. You already have 5 rookies this year. You already have so many young players, right? You don't need to tank. What you would need to do is take this group of players and the 905 guys, right? Have this young set of players grow together, follow the same roadmap that the Raptors used to get the 2019 Larry O.B., right? Maybe in some way in that same template, Scotty's your guy. Okay. It's not Kawhi. It's Scotty now. Okay. Like fill in these players. It's not Freddie. It's Emmanuel. You know what I mean? Like you can mismatch these guys, like interchange them, like plug and play, and keep that same formula. I think if the Raptors do, let's just say, get into the the middle area when it comes to the draft, and they go to pick somebody, I think that person could come and go, or maybe just end up in the 905. Because I think the Raptors, what they currently have, and everybody's got to, people got to start thinking they should keep it the way it is. Now, Coach, we're running desperately out of time. Do you agree with me, and do you have anything else to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, I would just focus on the players that we have right now. If they say this year's about development, then focus on development. Focus on getting Jonathan Mobo some minutes. Focus on Jameson Battle. I love Jameson Battle. I'm a big fan of his. He reminds me he could be the Sam Hauser of the Boston Celtics, just that guy that comes in, shoots threes, and you could at least play him. I'm a big fan of Shamshay's development. I love having this 18-year-old project. And yes, that's what he is a project. But when you kind of project out and you see these physical capabilities that he has at like 6'11" with a 7'5" wingspan, he's athletic. He's acting on instinct right now because he hasn't played much basketball. But I would leave him in the 905 this whole year. And then halfway through next year, see what you got from him. See if you can at least be on the team, I guess. And then project out from there. It's the 57th pick. So I was a big fan of the Shamshi pick. Need to get more high-end talent on this team moving forward. And I'm saying I don't think they're trying to tank by any stretch of the mean. I just think they're playing the guys that need development right now. And depending on how this next few weeks goes, you might prioritize that a bit more depending on how you do.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you 100%, brother. You know what?
You have to start somewhere year one of a rebuild.
Exactly. You can't just get everything all at once. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Living in the microwave generation, you can't get everything right away. This ain't Uber, this ain't DoorDash. Okay? It takes time. It's got to cook in the oven. All right? And I think the Raptors are on pace to get somewhere within the next couple years. Coach, final words before you rest me to peace.
Enjoying the energy during the games. I'm enjoying the compete level. I will say that the state of Maine borders this province called New Brunswick in Quebec and is across the Bay of Fundy from Nova Scotia, where I'm from. And there's this top pick that might be from the state of Maine. I've been there a few times. Pretty small. I'm just my geography lesson of the day. I sometimes will joke about that on Twitter.
You're killing me. Okay. I know man's got some good laughter too.
Some people like to play capture the flag. I like this. I kind of like to play cards too. I like the ace of clubs a little bit, but you know.
You like aces. I like the Bailey aces. That's what I like. I also like them too. But coach,
Yeah, they're not bad.
conversation. It's always a pleasure. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is your favorite. That's why I brought him back. You gotta be. I know you guys love
well,
him.
well, I'm humbled by that, or flattered by that, I should say. That if that's the case, it's cool.
Well deserved, my friend. Well deserved. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for supporting all the way from the East Coast to your home, the Coach Roach, and myself, King, to the point. You guys, holla at us. My boy, Arturs, the man working the magic behind the scenes.
Hey,
all of these videos. We can't leave them hanging. On behalf of all of us, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and